That's what hit me. What hit me as I was standing outside my garage with all my toys, with all my great achievements, with what I have accomplished with my 2 hands, my voice, my hard work, my perseverance. We lost the fight. Or maybe if I fill it in again, it should be we lost the will to fight. Because we no longer need to fight to survive.
I've built many startups, most of them have failed, so Bitcoin is exactly the place that I like to be.
We're gonna end it right there. Just go. Just go. So this is number 3, guys. This is number 3. And I'm feeling okay about the last 2 videos and 2 episodes and what I'm sharing and what I'm doing. And I'm feeling good. I'm executing against, well, there's no plan here. But I'm executing against what I know to be right, which is to continue to work hard. This is hard work. Things are getting real. I have to continue to go. What I want to talk about today is survival. And let me kind of give you some context here about how this came about. You see, I had gone out earlier today in the race car, and it was awesome. It started raining just a little bit, got a little bit of drizzle on the helmet, got a little bit of drizzle on the car, but it was a different experience, right? Because now I'm driving it around, and now I can drive it around and have a little bit of a drizzle. It's a new experience. I didn't mind it. What was great, it was basically raining sunshine, so it was warm, and I was getting rained on. It felt great. But after I got home from this exceptional drive with my son, we stopped by one of my friend's places and let him check out the car and some of his colleagues. It was really cool. But after I got home and I parked it and kind of did the cleanup, routine of these types of things, these types of experiences, you guys know where I am. You guys know where I be. And I found myself staring outside. I found myself staring outside the garage, looking around, kind of taking in the world, because I had just experienced one hell of a ride. And I enjoyed it very much. It was one of those, you're just super satisfied at that moment. You're just taking in the air, you're taking in the experience, and you're just kind of thinking about what just transpired. Almost, it's almost like reliving it, but you're not really reliving it. You're just in the afterglow, right? And so here I am, right outside my garage. I got my Lambo to my left, the race car to my right, the Mini Cooper to my other left. And these are all been on the track and just taking it all in. And you know what I thought? I thought that we no longer need to survive. We no longer need to survive. Now, as I thought of this, and this is kind of the crux of today's message, as I thought of this, it didn't sit well with me. It really didn't. I was like, we no longer need to survive? What the hell does that mean? Like, what does that even mean? See, you guys know me. I'm the type of guy who will dig in. So I went straight to my computer. Opened up the DuckDuckGo, because I don't want the Googs to be following me. And I typed in define : survive in the search bar. And it came up with a definition. The first definition of survive was to remain alive. To remain alive. And that didn't make sense within the context of the statement that I had proclaimed out to the universe outside my garage. Right? What I had proclaimed is we no longer need to survive. And if I translate survive with the first definition, I would say we no longer need to remain alive. Now, that doesn't make any sense because I like my life. You like your life. Everyone likes their life. Most everyone that I know likes their life, and everyone wants to stay alive. So that doesn't make any sense within the context of what I meant. But I hadn't found the right words. And so I went to the next definition, and voila, here we are. We have found it. The second definition of survive is to carry on despite hardships or trauma, to persevere. That is what I really meant. And after I read that, to carry on despite hardships or trauma, survive, to fight on, to carry on despite hardships or trauma, to persevere. If you replace my first sentence, it would sound like this. We no longer need to carry on despite hardships or trauma, or persevere. Fuck. It still doesn't make any sense. But then it rang to me, and then I wrote my note down. The word that was missing was the word fight. I don't need a definition of survive anymore. To remain alive, or to carry on despite hardships or trauma, or to persevere. You already understand this. The missing word was the adverb fight. We no longer need to fight to survive. That's what hit me. What hit me as I was standing outside my garage with all my toys, with all my great achievements, with what I have accomplished with my two hands, my voice, my hard work, my perseverance. We lost the fight. Or maybe if I fill it in again, it should be we lost the will to fight. Because we no longer need to fight to survive. We have all our needs taken care of. If you're listening to this, let's be intellectually honest. If you're listening to this, you're probably doing pretty damn good. You got a roof over your head. You got food in your mouth. You got food in your belly. You got waters. Maybe you might just even have some form of entertainment. Maybe even an $800 phone in which you are listening to this right now. You are privileged, as am I. So we have, in this modern day, the chances of you being relatively taken care of as you listen to this is pretty high in my estimation, according to YouTube Analytics and Google Analytics. Most of my guys are from America. So you're doing pretty good. So we've lost the will to fight because we no longer need to fight to survive. That is what rang in my heart today. And so in that moment of thinking we no longer need to fight to survive, my immediate, once that rang true to my heart, the next thing that immediately came up, the bloody next thing that came up was the question, well, where's the battle? Where is the battle then? Why is there struggle? Because if we no longer need to fight to survive, right, our basics are covered because we're doing something just enough to have our basics covered, then where is the struggle? Where's the battle? Where's the battle then? I ruminated on this, guys. I really thought hard about this. I thought about, where's the battle? What happened? It's just too easy now to survive. I think that's where you need to land right now if you're listening to this. It's just too daggone easy to survive today, okay? Now, yes, people can immediately go to different lands and say, well, other people are having a harder time surviving. Yes, I understand that. But you're not them because you're listening to me. What happened? And so I began to functionally decompose this idea. And once I began to functionally decompose this idea in my mind, I said, well, there was a moment in time when people had to fight to survive. When was that? So let's go back. Okay. Well, I can't go back that far. I mean, I'm not that old. I can go back in history, and I can look back in history books. And so I started thinking, World War II, nope. Let's go back. World War I, their living was pretty, it was harsh in some places, but it was pretty good. It wasn't great. I mean, we had electricity by that, right? So let's go back farther. And then I was like, I can't figure this out. I can't figure out when hardship really began because there's just no way for me to place myself in those times and places. And I would have to choose to be a part of some sort of cross-section of America. Which means, and ideally, if I were to choose, I would choose that I were on the higher end of that society. If I were on the higher end of that society in 1850, you know what? I probably didn't have to fight to survive that much. You get where I'm saying? And so I was like, I couldn't figure out how far to go back. So I just went back to the archetype, to the very beginning. The Adam and Eve, right? That is the modern archetype of how life should have been, right? It should have been perfect, right? Now, we know how the story ended, right? These individuals, Adam and Eve, they chose to become human. And what did God say to them? And I've actually done a Sunday sermon on this in the past. God said to them that you shall toil. I went through the definition of toil. I dug deep into what that means. Man, I tell you, guys, the word toil is not a word to be messed with. This word sucks. Toil is everything that it means. Hard, sweat, blood, labor, no fun, not enjoyable. This ain't work, guys. This is toil. Toil. Frustrating. Man shall toil is the word. God said to Adam. He said, you done fucked up, bro. You ate and you chose to be human. You now have a conscience all of your own. You now have an aspect of humanity that, well, I guess was destined. You chose poorly, and now you must toil. You must suffer for that decision. And so there, we must work for a living. That's where survival, that's where the fight for survival really began, right? That was also, interestingly enough, in terms of the archetype, that was the first team. Adam and Eve were the first team. They were the first tribe. They were the first community. And they had to fight to survive. See, they had to. They had to. And as I traced, now here's me, right, going from where I was back in history, going all the way back to the beginning of the archetype, and moving forward. And so I began to move forward. And I said, when did it get easier? And guess what, guys? Guess what? This is what happens in the mind of a madman who enjoys thinking creatively about the world. I found myself in the exact same position. I couldn't figure out when life got easy. And so, therefore, I was still left with the very simple question of today. The very simple question is, where is the battle then? Where's the battle? It is only when I sat down on my car bench seat in the corner. As I looked out, I saw the answer. I saw it in my knee as I crossed my legs, guys. I saw it in my knee. I saw it in my knee, guys. I saw it in my knee. You know what my knee said to me as I crossed my legs? The enemy is inside myself. That's where the battle is then, guys. The battle is the mind. And then it was easy. Once that had been realized, since we no longer need to fight to survive. The battle, therefore, is in the mind. The vices, the weaknesses abound in the mind. The greed, the selfishness, the lying, the cheating, the harm, the laziness, the apathy. Right? This is the battlefield of today's 21st century. The battlefield is in the mind. Now, if you think about that from a even larger meta level, it's clear to see that the battlefield at the global stage is certainly, my friends, is certainly the mind. Controlling mass media, controlling you, mind control, guys, is, well, you're listening to me, which means you're probably not. Mind controlled, that is. We must defeat the enemies in our own minds. You know what I wrote down on my notes? I wrote down that we must defeat the enemies in our own hearts. But as I read that, I crossed it out in my speaking. And the reason is because I just didn't feel at the moment that the heart is something that wars against you. I think the heart is something that is always working for you. But it is the mind. That is what I knew I should have written. Ooh, got the mosquito. Wow, that was fantastic. See, guys, this shit is always raw. I just give it to you how it is, guys. Got that mosquito. So, the battle today for you, my friends, is in your mind. You already knew this. And you say, well, Peter, wow, this is a fascinating revelation that you had that you already probably knew and we all know. But guys, guys, just because you think you thought you knew it does not negate the value of remembering from self-emergence in yourself. Values, principles, worldviews, insights, encouragement, inspiration that is self-generated, comes out of nowhere and reminds you of the simple things of life. This is good. I enjoy it. And certainly I have the margin and freedom to be able to think so that I can create. And so I think on these things. We must defeat the enemies in our own minds because that is the battlefield. And I thought about what is the battle in our minds? Well, it's easy. It's false beliefs. It's false beliefs. Anything that generally arises in your mind that has the context of negativity to tear you down. You must not listen, my friends. You cannot listen to this voice. It is destructive by nature. It is ruinous by nature. It wants to crush, kill, destroy you. It is the negative false beliefs that want to ensure that you never achieve that which is in your heart. This is the daily resistance, a part of, if not in many cases, damn near 100% of it. This is the war we rage daily, my friends, the battle of the mind, to overcome the mind. And that was the simple reminder for me today. To overcome the mind is to do, to act. How do you get rid of negative false beliefs? You do. You act. Action. When a false belief comes up, you must reprogram yourself towards action. When something comes up and says, oh, you can't, take action. When someone says, oh, when anyone says, whether it's real or whether it's in your mind, they say you can't, you immediately take action. You say, what are you talking about? I can. Go on the internet and start doing some more research about that thing that you want to do. You're just proving to the voice and to the world that you can overcome that thought, that false belief. If someone says, you shouldn't, you couldn't, you wouldn't, don't do it. You're too weak, you're too frail, you're not strong enough, you don't have enough X, you don't have enough Y, you don't have enough Z, you can't do A, you can't do B, you can't do C. Like, these are these are the false beliefs that some of you have hung on to for far too long. It's time to release yourself of these false beliefs. How do you do this? Take action against that which arises in your heart. I had that today. It was very simple. It was very simple, but it's easy for me now in regards to these things because I flexed the muscle so many times. It was simply, it's getting late. You don't have to do anything. You don't need to. And you don't think you're going to pull it off as well as you could. Those these things flash through my mind as fast as possible. And then I immediately look at it, it's like, oh man, why you gotta make me do like this? Why you gotta make me go like this? And you know what you end up with? Me recording this. Podcast number 3, whatever you want to call it. Show 3, whatever. Getting on the mic, 3. That's what you got. Because the voice inside my head said, Peter, you're tired. Peter, you don't need to. Peter, no one's Yes, these are all true. But I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me. And if you're out there and you're listening to this, I'm doing it for you. Because if I can overcome the demons in my head every daggone day, then you can too. Because I'm no different. I'm no different at all. Self-program yourself away from false beliefs. Fight the false belief with action. But if you want to really, as best you can, and it still comes up now and again, but if you really want to get rid of false beliefs, use the self-programming method. Erase and rewrite. Erase and rewrite. The truth is. That is one of the best mechanisms for anything of the past. I love it. It's one of the most fantastic self-programming things that you could ever do. Erase and rewrite. You got a hurt in the past. You got a memory of the past that wants to come up, wants to bite you in the ass, bring you down. Think on it. Think on it. Think on it. Think on it. And then say aloud. Erase and rewrite this memory. Fill in the blank, whatever it's called. The engagement with my ex. The fight with my uncle. The disagreement with my mama. Like the decision of X. Right? Fill in the blank. You say erase and rewrite that one experience in 2002 with my uncle. Call it by name. Erase and rewrite that car accident because I got drunk in 1993. Erase and rewrite that poor decision to I don't even know. Call it out. And then, most importantly, you rewrite it and you say these words. The truth is, and you change it. You change it. You make it positive. Because it is positive now. You survived, didn't you? You're here, aren't you? You're cogent. Really? Are you here? You fill it in. You say, erase and rewrite that issue with my uncle in 2002. The truth is that made me a stronger person. It made me a better person. It helped me see life for what it really was. My uncle was right. I shouldn't. You know what? I should go talk with him. I should engage with him, tell him he's right. I was too naive. I was too young. I want to repair the relationship. And then you do it. You call, you pick up the phone, and you say, Uncle Joe, I know we haven't talked, but back in 2002, you remember how we do. I fucked up, bro. I just want to let you know. Erase and rewrite that terrible day in 1993 when you got behind the wheel and you caused that accident. Erase and rewrite. The truth is that because of that, I was able to pick up my life, get focused, stop boozing, become sober, eventually meet the love of my life, and now enjoy X, Y, and Z because of it. Change it, guys. Change it. Erase and rewrite the past trauma, hardship, that thing that you had to fight to survive at that moment. Erase and rewrite. The truth is that experience made you exactly who you are today, ready to conquer the world, ready to do amazing things, ready to fucking crush it. So we no longer need to fight to survive. That's okay, because the battle's in the mind. And because the battle is in the mind, and we are poised and positioned to be victorious. Because guys, since we no longer have to bend over backwards, cutting up wheat, picking grapes, picking out fruit, killing our own animals to survive, since we no longer have to do that, and the war is in the mind, the truth is, you already know what you're capable of. So let's get started.